Welcome back to the Unstuck Business. I am your host, Rob Z. This platform is all about breakthrough for you in your business. When we get stuck at certain plays, we reach certain plateaus in our business, in our life, we need breakthrough. We need to break the chains that have been holding us back. So I'd love to bring awesome people on this platform who have found those huge breakthroughs in their business. I want to thank you to the Connected Leaders Academy. Thank you so much, Jose Escobar and the CLA, for being the sponsor of this platform. The Connected Leaders Academy, talk about breakthrough, a place for hundreds of entrepreneurs from around the world to come together to help each other grow and have those next level moments in their business, for leaders, for authors, for speakers, for coaches. Check it out, connectedleadersacademy.com. Find Jose Escobar on Facebook and on LinkedIn. But today, our guest of honor is Nelson Nigel, the founder and CEO of Kidmoto Technology, a mobile app that connects parents to drivers with installed child car seats for safe airport transfers. After operating for 6 years, Kidmoto has over 40,000 completed rides, 40 part-time employees, 500 independent drivers nationwide, a 7-figure revenue for 2023, and is valued at $25 million. Incredible. Nelson, thank you so much for being a part of the Unstuck business.
Hey, Rob, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you.
For sure, man. It's really cool. I'm so excited to talk to you because I find it fascinating going from the world of cab driver, Uber and Lyft. 6 years later, you've built this incredible company, Kidmoto. I want to ask, first of all, because you're in a very specific niche. What is the niche that you are in? Because when we're in the entrepreneur world, especially in the coaching world, people are always talking about niches. What is the specific niche that you find yourself in?
The riches are in the niches, right? We provide pre-installed child car seats for traveling parents with small children going to and from airports. And that's all we do.
That's it. That's all you do. And what is the power of finding a niche and doubling down on it? So what is the power in that, and how did you do that?
Well, the power is, having the vision of where you want to be. And many people just don't know where they want to go, Rob. And if you have a direction of where you want to go, then you can find a way to get there. And having a specific niche lets someone focus specifically on what they know and what they want to do, instead of trying to do too much.
And in your world, and I think in every other industry that you're involved in, you could go a million different directions, right? You could choose a bunch of different things. And that's the problem that we get caught up in, is this analysis paralysis. Like, go in so many different directions. How did you decide to double down on this one specific area? What was it about it that made you go in that direction?
Well, a man can't ride 2 horses, right? And I saw that niche, and I drove a yellow cab. I drove with a black car. I drove with Uber and Lyft, and I've always noticed that I didn't know how to install a car seat, right? And parents would come in and like, "Can you install a car seat for me?" I'm like, "I don't know." And do you have a car seat? No, we don't carry car seats, right? Taxis and car services don't carry car seats. So I saw that need in the market, and after I had some issues with my other company, I said, you know what, let's try this and see what happens, and forget about it. 52 cities later, here we are.
And it's fascinating with the whole car seat thing, because like there's always a new car seat, and then the old car seats are totally junk. They're like not even allowed to be used anymore for some reason, although they worked for years before that. But now you have to have the newest car seat that has the newest safety regulations. And then why is it so complicated to install the thing? I've always wondered that myself. It's even for a parent who has kids who's always installing car seats. It's like, how did I do this again? How are we supposed to put this thing in here? So I totally grabbed that point of it. I've thought this myself, being in Ubers and Lyfts with a child. If we're going to be going around, I've got to bring like a car seat or a booster seat with me. There's just like a bunch of different pieces to that puzzle. And you decided to focus strictly on airport transportation. So how do you coordinate with the airports? There's so many questions I have. Like, do you coordinate with the airports to have yourself there so that you can have a place that you're set up that they know to contact you via the app? How does all of that work? How did all of that come to be?
It's first of all, let's go back to your initial question, right? You were like, how do you install the car seats? And different cars have are built differently. German cars are built different from Japanese cars, American cars, and they have different seat belts and different latches, and they're all built differently. And there's different types of car seats. It's like rocket science nowadays, right? So a lot of it is the marketing out there. Different people have different suggestions or recommendations of how to install the car seats, and becomes befuddling, right? And like, you're confused, like, which one is which, right?
Yeah.
So we figured out how to get that done with the kind of car seat that we use. And in terms of like dealing with the airports, we work with operators nationally, and we don't necessarily have designated spots where people are picked up. It's the operator on the ground coordinates with the passenger when the passenger lands at the airport and when the passenger's going to the airport. And they coordinate and they meet, and when the passenger comes out of the airport, they just strap the child in, and bada bing, bada boom, forget about it. They're off. They don't need to install the car seat. Don't need to harness the car seat. It's already ready to go.
Yeah, that's a very nice feature. I mean, I can see why that feature works, because I think every parent who's been in an Uber, Lyft, or taxi has thought that, man, I wish this whole car seat thing could get figured out. So how do you get in? And this is another question I have, building this app and the technology. How do you get that off the ground and get people to embrace the concept? Because that's something I find fascinating. How does an app go from nothing to something and take off the way that it does?
I still don't know, Rob.
Who should we be talking to?
Oh, forget about it. It was, I'll tell you, I used to work 20 hours a day, like literally 7 days a week, 18, 20 hours a day. I had 2 nervous breakdowns, dude. It was rough. It was rough. It's a lot of marketing, and sometimes you just gotta, Elon Musk said it once, and if you go to bring a product to the market, it doesn't have to be, it has to be really good, right? So when you have a really good product, which is something that we had, we know it gave us some advantage over the competition. But just because you have a product doesn't mean that it's it's going to sell. So tons of marketing, going out there, hitting the pavement, just tons of marketing, and it didn't take off overnight. It took time.
Who are you specifically marketing to for a product like this? For a service?
Well, parents of children.
So you're doing, is it social media advertising? How are you reaching them? What are you doing?
Digital marketing, yeah, social media advertising. Social media, there's 40, 50 different digital marketing strategies that we can use. Probably more now with AI, right? So understand the strategies and play with them, and figure out what works. Where's your target audience? How do you reach them? You fish where the fish is swimming, right?
Yeah, that's it. I love your analogies. You fish where the fish are swimming. A man can't ride 2 horses. That's good. I like that one too. That's good. Where does the drive come from? You said you were working 18 to 20 hours a day. Where does that drive come from to push yourself to the brink of, or to mental breakdowns?
You just can't quit. You can't quit. There's just refuse to lose. Can't quit. It's not in me to quit. It's not.
That's a simple way of putting it, but like in like practical functionality, most people can't go that hard all the time. What is it about you that lets you be able to do that?
I was heavily into athletics when I grew up, so I'm just like naturally, I'm ready to go. I'm not quitting. I'm not quitting.
I love that, man. So not quitting and just finding out what's not working, fixing it, finding what is working, continuing with it, and just continue that experiment to make it work.
Just refuse to lose.
Mm. So in the beginning, let's go back 6 years ago. You build this product. You have this concept. Do you start first with the app? Do you start first with just getting the customer discovery? Where do you begin with getting something like this off the ground, like at the beginning phases of it?
Business plan, 100% business planning. You have to have, if it's not written down, it never happened. So it starts with the books. You have to plan it out strategically. You got to write everything down, itemize it, put everything down on paper. I started this way before I launched it, right? So you really have to write everything down on the business plan, and just whatever you think, you have to write it down. So you have something visual to see, and you look at it over and over and over again. And when you're ready, when I was ready, that's when I launched. So I had it on the side burner. I was working on that business plan for a while, and when I was ready to launch, I actually had a vision of where I was going. And when I actually started, I just started moving with it.
So from concept in your head to launching, how long do you think of a time period that was?
9 months at least.
9 months. Okay. Yeah, that's whenever I launched my first business, it was about a year and a half of like planning, right? So I think that's a lot of people listening to this or watching this right now who are thinking about launching something or want to get something off the ground. Having that period of planning is extremely important. Having that business plan in place, having all of the pieces in your mind put together and on paper put together before you launch, so you're not hitting the ground and trying to figure it out. You're hitting the ground running with an idea, with a concept.
Visualize it like this, right, Rob? If you're building a 2-story house, you're going to dig down 10 feet. You're going to build a foundation, but that foundation is going to let you build up to 2 stories, maybe 3 stories, right? And the building plans are done by an architect prior to the building going up. And those building plans could be about 5 pages or 7 pages, right? Mm-hmm. If you're building a 10-story building, we're talking maybe you're digging down 25 feet, and your building plans could be maybe 30, 40 pages, correct? Mm-hmm. And again, the plans were done by an architect, and it was done before the building was built, right? Or if you're building a 50-story building, you're digging down 60 feet, 70 feet, and those building plans could be 200 pages. So the more pages of your blueprints of your business plan that you make beforehand, the easier it is for you to build out. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course, yeah. The bigger the skyscraper, the deeper the basement has to be. All right, you got to have that deep foundation to be able to support something very big. Yeah, man.
Yeah, and more documents, more architectural plans, right? Business plan.
Mm-hmm. So I doubt you're the first person to have this idea and try to create a company out of it, right? You couldn't have been the first person. But what did you do differently that they weren't doing? So what did you do that set you apart from other people who were trying to go into this niche?
I've noticed other people in the child care parenting industry try to do too much, and you can't do too much. Sometimes you just have to focus on one thing. Mm-hmm. And I started airport transportation with installed child car seats. Forget about it. That was like seemingly unreal, and like everyone laughed at me. Like that's not going to work, right? But it did. So we focused on it, and we were the best at what we did. And up to now, we're still the best at what we do, and we're growing rapidly. It's outstanding because we're solving a problem that I really love, which is providing child safety and convenience for traveling parents with child car seats.
Yeah, it's very important, especially in the world we live in right now, man. Very important. And
forget about it. These people are texting and driving left and right. I see them on the road when I'm on the road. I'm like, people are like,
yeah. It's dangerous, right? So
Yeah.
where does your passion lie in that? So you saw that need. Do you have a specific like passion or thing behind this, like a meaning or purpose? Why with children? Is it uh, something in your background that sparked that, or just something you really saw a need for?
Um, I was at that time. I was already a child passenger safety technician, which is safe kids. We help we help people in the general public install child car seats. And so I would be one of those guys that if you go into the local law enforcement or local fire department to install your car seat, I'm one of those guys that helps install that. And I see it's just a very beneficial and valuable product service for parents because no one else is doing it, and the entire industry just stayed away from it. The entire transportation industry, the entire industry stayed away from it.
That's really interesting. What made you go and just be somebody who helped people install car seats? Because that's a special kind of person too. What made you want to do that?
I've always, I love people, and I've always all my products and all the companies that I've started. I think almost all was products to help people, and this one just actually is really good.
So, okay, we got to jump into our sponsor for the podcast real quick. But before we do, I want to talk when we come back in 60 seconds about building a team, because that's one of the hardest things people have.
Oh,
That's the biggest struggle in business is finding the right people, building the right team, being the right kind of leader that makes people excited about what you're doing and want to stick around for what you're doing. And the purpose and mission behind what you're doing builds that. The vision builds that great team. So in 60 seconds, we're going to jump in and find out what that was like for you.
okay.
Hi, my name is Jose Escobar, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Connected Leaders Academy. We're a growing tribe, a community of entrepreneurs all over the world, globally, all across the country, high performers, titans of industry. If you're an entrepreneur and you're looking to grow personally and professionally, scale your influence, develop your skill sets, move the needle in your business, more clients, more money, more profit, the bottom line, and of course, grow your circle and your network like never before, this is where you want to be. Join the Connected Leaders Academy today. We are scaling massively. We want to welcome you in. Check me out on Instagram and on Facebook, the @ JAESCO25. We look forward to having you join us. Take care.
All right, Nelson. So we're talking about Kidmoto Technology and the fact that you've built a team of 40 part-time employees, 500 independent drivers nationwide. Building a strong team is really difficult for a lot of companies. Something that I do as a leadership coach is work with teams, making leadership stronger, building those relationships, finding people's strengths and helping them to put those strengths at the forefront of what they do. What was it for you that helped you build this team over the past 6 years?
That's hard. Leadership is hard. It's challenging, not hard, just challenging, and a lot of it starts with uh, it all depends. Leadership, or is it building a team?
Well, if you have to be the right leader to build the right team. So let's go with leadership first. What about you? What made you a better leader? How did you have to grow as a leader?
So leadership is a lot about trusting people, uh, accepting them, and uh, what's the word? Trusting somebody, seeing the value in what they do,
Their potential.
seeing their potential, because many people can't see the potential in themselves, right? So, a good leaders can notice potential, or notice certain types of values in people, and they can align those values and say, "Hey, you're good at this. We believe you're going to do this." You wouldn't necessarily say it directly like that sometimes, but I do it, and sometimes people don't believe that, but you have to like consistently tell them so they can really put in their head that, hey, yes, I can, right? And you say, you can, and before you know it, that person grows up and it's like, wow, uh, they couldn't even believe it. So I think good leaders are good at seeing value in people.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, seeing the strengths in people that they might not be able to see, right? Pulling those things out of people that they might not be able to see themselves. And if you can pull that out of somebody and highlight that for them, it changes their life and it changes your life and it makes your business run better.
Oh, absolutely. It's there's value in like, hey, helping somebody get to the next level in their lives that they most likely would never see if someone doesn't put them in a position to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, and inside or outside of business, I encourage it because I mean it's everything in your life. If you see an opportunity to lift somebody up, to encourage somebody, you've no idea what kind of impact that can have on them. It's such
Why
an
not?
amazing
It
thing.
doesn't hurt, right?
Right. Yeah. Where's the downside? So leading that into team building, what was it like for you to build
T-
that team?
Team building is part leadership. It's also if you're building a team, you have to identify. Let's put it to sports. I'm building a basketball team. I need a center. I need a power forward. I need a guard. I need a coach. I need a trainer, etc. Right. So you have you will know exactly the type of person that you want. You have a good job description of who that person is. So if you're hiring a trainer, trainer has a specific job description. If you're hiring an assistant coach, they have a job description also, right? If you have hiring a medical staff for, like say, a sports team, they have a specific job descriptions also. So, team building is having a very succinct job descriptions and uh, and articulating that to the person, so they know more or less what they are responsible to do and what their focus should be.
As Kidmoto started to take off, did you already have experience in establishing that sort of team dynamic, or is that something you had to figure out as you were growing?
Oh, I had lots of experience over the years of team building, and it started with like a finance person, an IT person. So finance, IT is very important.
Yeah. And also, like, taking care of kids and making sure they're safe, very important, right? And you're putting people on the job who are installing these car seats. Is there some sort of requirement that you had to find in certain people to know that they were capable of doing what you were asking them to do when you're putting, kids' lives in their hands by making sure their car seats are in correctly?
Yes, it was vetting drivers, making sure that they thoroughly understand, or we can train them well, and that they are not someone who is irresponsible, or someone can't have somebody like that, or untrustworthy.
Yeah, really important. So as you're building Kidmoto and you've grown this business now to a pretty impressive level, man, to where you completed over 40,000 rides. You said it is in 54 different
52.
cities. How many? 52 cities
52,
now?
yeah.
And from what you told me before we started here, you're launching Moto Nation, which is a mini IPO. So only Uber and Lyft in your industry have done that, like in this space that you're in. I'm sure that's taken things to a whole new level for you. What does that even look like to be going to that stage?
Oh, this is so I'll backtrack. When I started this industry, I had like imposter syndrome, and I looked at my peers like, oh wow, these guys are so great. They have these huge companies, and I didn't feel like worthy, or like I didn't feel like I knew what I was doing. But in fact, I actually was doing really well. And so now that we are in this stage of like, going to Wall Street, going to the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, and getting all our documents in, and being able to raise money to create even new products for underserved segments of the population. It's really exciting, and because we're creating new products for underserved segments of the population, which is people who actually need products like child car seats, right? So we're doing like parents with infants coming from hospitals. We're doing elderly transportation. We're doing airline logistics, airline staff transportation. These are like underserved segments that many people in our industry do not target or do not serve. And I believe, we've shown ourselves and our value with Kidmoto and having a national infrastructure. Now we can provide value to those underserved segments, and I'm excited about that because sometimes you always want to provide valuable products.
Yeah, absolutely. So you start off with a very specific niche in what you're doing, and now you're branching outside of that niche. How do you decide this is the right time to do this? How do you know you're at the point where like you can start to expand outside of that arena?
You have to make that decision, right, of course, right? And we're at the right time. Our team is phenomenal. Our technology is phenomenal. Our network is phenomenal. Just everything is moving in the right direction. And when you work hard enough, I've heard this saying somewhere. When you work hard enough, the universe comes to you, and everything is coming to us. Rob just come to us, right? So I'm excited to be on your show, and it's like everything is coming to us at Kidmoto, and now it's like, what, we have, we have this ability now, and we have to believe, right? We have to believe that we are providing value, and we do provide value. So the next step is to take a step.
Yeah, take that step and do something new, and something that's much needed. When you're talking about transportation for the elderly, is that's got to be a challenge because a lot of elderly don't know how to use apps and things of that nature. What does that look like? I'm curious.
That's going to be challenging, and it doesn't necessarily mean that there has to be an app. We can figure out how to get it done, but I'll tell you, there are elderly now that that are using cell phones, and we can figure out with they have gadgets these days that are who knows what AI is going to do. So I think there's going to be ways.
Yeah, you are correct, because I know I'd say half of the elderly people in my life are fairly tech savvy, and the other half are just out altogether. They want nothing to do with it. You know what I mean? So I was just curious if you guys have jumped into that world yet and tried to figure that part of it out. I'm curious to see how that plays out, man.
We haven't, but it doesn't mean that everyone has to have an app or a cell phone, but there are ways to figure it out. Mm-hmm. Could be transport from the clinics. Could be if they have a caregiver with them that has the app, right? And it doesn't have to be everyone. There's different ways to figure out how to reach people.
You seem like an expert problem solver. Like you're going to tackle something. You're going to figure the problem out no matter what. Like you said, no matter what, you're going to do it. What would you advice you would give to an entrepreneur in the world of solving problems? Of something seems impossible. Like you said, people laughed at you, and you said that you were going to have an app to help people with kids at airports. Like that was going to be it, and they like kind of made fun of the concept, and you made it work. So I know you said the hard work, the 18 to 20 hour days, but as far as problem solving goes, what advice could you give an entrepreneur when tackling like really difficult problems?
Different eyes see different things, and speak to many people, listen to many people, take advice from many people. Listen to people, then you can figure out how to attack a problem, because different eyes see different things, and sometimes you don't see it. Maybe you have blinders on. Maybe somebody else sees it from a different direction, and if you can see it from other people's point of views, also you can create mechanisms or systems or formulate your plans based on how other people see it or how you see it there's so many different ways to look at it, and that's the beauty of understanding that, hey, you don't necessarily need to know everything yourself. There are other people. You can just listen to other people, and different eyes see different things.
Yeah, I love that. Different eyes see different things. I always love to say, make war with a multitude of counselors, right? If you're going into battle, you're going to need lots of different people with lots of different ideas, different perspectives on how they look at things. And oftentimes, especially as entrepreneurs, right, we can want to be like this lone wolf, thinking we have to do everything ourselves, thinking we have to figure it out ourselves. And you're only going to get so far doing that, and you're going to burn out doing that. Are those the moments when you had those mental breakdowns earlier on when you were trying to do it yourself, and that helped you figure that out, or what was it?
It's just constant work. We're bootstrapped, right? So it's like we didn't have the financial backing, and when you're planning and you're doing so much by yourself, actually, right? It's like there's building a business, a national business. It's not easy, and there is just constant work, and that's those 20-hour days. It doesn't stop.
Yeah, man. Well, my hat's off to you. Really cool just to be able to talk to you about this journey and what you've created, and the fact that you're taking it to a whole nother level and you're launching the mini IPO with Moto Nation. It's fascinating. I find these kind of stories really, really interesting. So it's cool to hear and talk to somebody who's built something to such a large level just over, in under a decade. You've done this, just a little over half a decade. You've done this.
Yeah.
You're like just getting started in this whole industry.
I'm excited about the products for the consumers. It's you create something valuable for the consumers that is actually needed in the marketplace. I'm excited about that.
Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
In 10 years, I don't know yet.
Focusing on one day at a time.
10 years, myself or the company. I'll still be myself.
Cool. All right, good to know.
The company will be on a different level.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
Nelson, awesome, man. So if they want to find you, email you, Nelson Nigel at kidmoto.taxi. That's KIDMOTO.taxi. Check out the website, Kidmoto Taxi, or kidmoto.taxi is the website. Yes. Thank you very much, Rob. There we go. I got that out right. Is there anywhere else people should be trying to find you, reach out to you?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Find me on LinkedIn, Nelson Nigel, and Twitter, X, Nelson Nigel.
X is it's gonna be so hard for that to stick, because people just Twitter's easy, tweet. It's like they're just like, it's like vernacular. To change it to X's, that's really hard. That's a hard change.
It's Elon Musk.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Cool, man. Nelson, anything you want to leave the audience with before we sign off?
Yes. Don't be a hamster on a hamster wheel, ladies and gentlemen. If you keep doing what if you keep doing what you're doing, you'll keep getting what you're getting, and that's not a good place to be. Jump off, do something, change your scenery, change your life, but get off that hamster wheel because you're only going to keep getting what you're going to get if you keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, you can't become who you already are. Like, you got to become who you want to be. You've got to see yourself as a new person, go after those new things, and recreate yourself. I love that, man. That's so good. So, brother, thank you so much for being a part of the Unstuck business. Greatly appreciate it.
Thank you very much.